Sometimes I sit quietly and think about how much English influences our daily lives, from the phones we use to the information we read online, and I realize that even when we don't consciously try, English keeps appearing everywhere, which makes me wonder why it has become so important for communication and personal growth.
I feel the same way, and I think English has become important because it works like a bridge that connects people from different cultures, countries, and backgrounds, allowing them to share ideas, knowledge, and opportunities without being limited by geographical boundaries.
That's true, because whenever I watch interviews, movies, or even educational videos, English seems to be the common language, and I notice that people who are comfortable using English often appear more confident when expressing their thoughts and opinions clearly.
Confidence plays a big role, and using English regularly helps people improve not only their communication skills but also their thinking skills, because when you learn a new language, especially one used globally, your mind becomes more open and flexible.
I've noticed that many job opportunities now require English, even in places where it isn't the first language, and sometimes it feels unfair, but at the same time, I understand that companies want employees who can communicate internationally and handle global information.
Exactly, and English opens doors in education too, because most research papers, online courses, and study materials are available in English, which means people who know English have access to a much wider pool of knowledge than those who don't.
I agree, and I've also felt that learning and using English helps us connect with people emotionally, because when you can understand someone's language, you can understand their thoughts, feelings, and stories more deeply.
That emotional connection is powerful, and it's one of the reasons English is important in travel, because when you visit a new country, English often becomes the common language that helps you ask for help, make friends, and feel less lost in an unfamiliar place.
Sometimes people feel shy or scared to speak English because they worry about making mistakes, but I think mistakes are a natural part of learning, and avoiding the language only slows down progress and confidence.
I completely agree, and I believe that using English daily, even with small sentences and simple words, is far more effective than silently learning grammar rules without practicing, because language is meant to be spoken, not just studied.
Another thing I've realized is that English helps us grow personally, because when we read books, listen to podcasts, or watch talks in English, we get exposed to new ideas, cultures, and perspectives that challenge our thinking.
Yes, and that exposure helps build a global mindset, which is very important in today's world, because understanding different viewpoints makes us more tolerant, informed, and adaptable in both personal and professional life.
I also feel that English improves social connections, especially online, because social media platforms, discussion forums, and international communities mostly use English, and knowing the language allows us to participate actively instead of just observing silently.
That's a great point, and when people actively use English, they don't just consume content, they contribute their own ideas, stories, and creativity, which helps build confidence and a sense of belonging.
Sometimes I think people misunderstand English as just a subject to pass exams, but in reality, it's a life skill that helps us communicate, collaborate, and compete in a global environment.
Exactly, and when English is treated as a practical skill rather than an academic burden, learning becomes more enjoyable and meaningful, because learners start using it in real-life situations instead of memorizing rules.
I've noticed that people who regularly speak English often develop better listening skills too, because understanding different accents and speaking styles requires patience and attention.
That's true, and those listening skills are valuable beyond language learning, because they improve empathy and understanding in everyday conversations as well.
So in a way, using English is not just about language, but about personal development, confidence, and global awareness, all growing together.
Yes, and the more we use English without fear, the more we realize that it's simply a tool to express ourselves, not a measure of intelligence or worth.
I think the key is to start using English in daily life, even in small ways like talking to friends, thinking in English, or writing simple notes, instead of waiting to become perfect.
Absolutely, because fluency comes from usage, not perfection, and every conversation, no matter how simple, moves us one step closer to confidence.
After talking about this, I feel more motivated to use English regularly, without worrying too much about mistakes, and focus more on communication.
That mindset is exactly what makes English powerful, because when we use it freely and confidently, it becomes a door to learning, opportunities, and meaningful connections around the world.
So the importance of English really lies in its ability to connect, empower, and expand our world beyond limits.
And once we understand that, using English stops being a fear and starts becoming a strength.